had one student who wanted to work with me. She's like, oh, I can't program. I can't do this. I can't model. I'm not good at this. And I was like, well, all right, well, why don't we try a little bit, try something small and, see where it goes. And, I think just starting small and saying, oh, look at what cool results you got with this. And, it'd be, if we do a little more, we can answer some more interesting questions. And then that, she's still kind of fighting that, oh, I don't know if I'm good at this, but also getting the support of getting the whole team of grad students, supporting one another and helping each other through the struggles, especially the new students. That's been really helpful.
So you mentioned two things. One is the students' imposter syndrome, and also that you work with a Women in STEM program. So what is it like to be a woman in STEM, and what kind of advice would you give others who are sort of contemplating this? Because there's the leaky pipeline, right?
Yep.
And so we have a lot of women getting undergrads in STEM, and they just don't make it all the way.
Yep.
And so you did.
Yeah.
How do you motivate the next generation, and what is it like to be one of the women in STEM?
Oh gosh, I think that mentoring is just absolutely key. I've seen students, this was true for me too, who come into it, excited, and they think, oh, this is what I want to do, but not sure that they can. And just having, constant, or at least this is my approach, or I'm sure there's other good approaches, but just constant support and constant positive feedback saying, yes, you're doing a great job, what you're doing is awesome, and just being really, criticism being very constructive. And I'm just very, very careful about that, being very supportive. I've had great mentors, great advisors in the past, and that's what got me through, because it's, there's a lot of awesome men in STEM. I think that as a woman in STEM, we've all probably had some bad experiences, with people who are not inclusive or whatever, not sensitive. But that's been, fortunately for me, pretty rare. The thing that's kind of trickier, I think, being in engineering, and I'll just use the Spring STEM conference as an example. Love this conference, love all the people I've talked with here have been really great, and yet I feel like I'm definitely, I don't know if you feel this too, but definitely a minority. It's definitely male dominated, and so I think that's true also in engineering. As you go into classes, like programming classes in particular, where it's heavily male dominated, very competitive, and you kind of feel alone. And so I think that having groups like Women in Science and Engineering, SWE, things like that, and having good role models and mentors is absolutely critical. So you just feel like, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that's having doubts or, struggling with things, that's a normal part of the process. And just having that support structure is, at least it was for me, really, really critical.
So I think that there's a barrier that happens then, right? Because if you have women students who already feel alone and isolated, and they already have the imposter feeling,
Yep.
And then they are in departments that are predominantly male, or even women who have learned to perform in a male role, and so they're a little closed off, in a protective mode.
Right.
So what advice would you give to female students attempting to find mentors, because they're already fighting the I'm not good enough? And it's really exposing, right, to approach a mentor.
Yeah. Yes.
And put yourself out there, right? I don't understand this thing, but I want to.
Right.
In a way that doesn't make you seem like you're outing yourself, right? I don't belong here.
Absolutely. That is actually a good question, because I think that I've definitely, felt that way over the years, and I'm very sure that there are lots of women that feel that way. But I guess it's hard for me to answer that question, because I've been lucky enough, I guess, maybe industrial engineering, there's a fair, it's not as good as we'd like, but there's a fair number of women. And so I always felt that there were people that I could reach out to and say, hey, and get to, getting to know people on outside of engineering too, so that you've got this common bond other than, building trust. That sort of thing is really good too. Having friends, that are in engineering, in STEM disciplines, but that you're getting to know in some other way, that helps. What advice would I give? My gosh, it's such a hard question.
I find that most of my mentors happened by accident.
Exactly,
really.
yeah.
It was just serendipity that I got paired with somebody to work on something, and then they just turned out to be really influential for me. But I often get the question from grad students, you know, like, how do you break into this world? Or, I mean, one piece of advice I give them is if they admire a scholar whose work they've been citing a lot, just reach out to them. Because most of us like to hear from students. Oh, yeah. And I think they think that the person who wrote the article is untouchable. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
You've written articles, and here you are, you're a real person.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely the case. And you know, that's something that I should probably think about, is how to become, you know, more accessible, especially to undergraduates. I think the grad students, it's a little bit easier to reach out. But when you're an undergrad, you know, I think at least feedback I've got is faculty are like, oh, it's faculty. It's kind of scary. You know, but you know, getting people. One of the things we have at Iowa State that's really good is an undergrad research program. You know, and kind of getting people involved, and then they get to see their peers getting involved, and, you know, saying, oh, hey, there's other women, and the guys too, you know, that are doing this, and oh, it's not that scary, you know, and just trying to reach out to women when they're in those formative years, especially. You know, and you know, and honestly, it's tricky because it's sort of chicken and egg problem. I mean, if you've got a lot of we're lucky to have a lot of female faculty in our department, and if the students see, oh, look, there are female faculty that are doing this and have PhDs and are graded in industrial engineering, then that's something I could see myself doing. So if you've got that really helps.
And it looks normal that way, right?
Yes.
Then that's what you know is normal. Yeah. Exactly.
But I know that that's not the case in other departments, and so yeah. So that's a tough challenge.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.